Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
Hi there, everybody, and welcome to Monorail Monday. We're back for Season 4. It's been a while, outside of the Christmas special, and I think we did one around Thanksgiving, too, for the holidays. But other than that, it's been a while. It's been since August for Season 3 when we finished that. Thought we were going to come back in the fall, but just lots of stuff going on. Cruise videos, Christmas videos, there was just a lot of other stuff going on. I figured best to put it off until after the holidays, where we can hit the ground running with 6 good episodes Monorail Monday. So we are back. Before we get into today's story, I'm going to answer a question that was asked. Before we jump into the story each week, I think this season we'll address any comments from the previous video, whether they're questions or just, hey, we really like this, something like that. But we'll talk a little bit about that before we jump into the story. So a question I had the other day was, how do the monorails get cleaned? Is there a plan for how the monorails get cleaned? And the answer is yes. Yes, for the most part there is. When the monorails shut down for the evening, when they close to guests, at least in my time now, I realize that operationally some things are a little bit different over the course of time that have changed. But what we did, basically, the monorails would continue to operate for at least an hour. If the Magic Kingdom, sometimes the Magic Kingdom might close at 6 o'clock. Back in my day, in December, it was so empty, the Magic Kingdom would be closing at around 6 o'clock, 2 weeks out of December. And maybe Epcot was open until 8. And so even though the Magic Kingdom was closed, you'd still have the resorts running until 11 or 12 or something like that. So the monorails would still be going. But when the monorails basically shut down for the night, you'd still have about an hour of time for trains getting rotated around the track, around the beamway. Some would be sent back to shop for periodic maintenance. Maintenance usually had certain monorails. Hey, we want blue back here tonight. We want monorail lime back here. And then they could do whatever work they need to be doing on that. Other monorails might be rotated around. Okay, blue is ultimately going to park at the Magic Kingdom. Monorail red's going to be parked at the Transportation Center. So the trains would be kind of lined up so that they could do all the switching and park the trains in the locations they wanted them to be at for the next morning. So that basically you just started the system up and you would bring on the couple of monorails from shop and put those on the beam you needed to put those on. So monorail maintenance would be done overnight at the shop, and Transportation Center and Magic Kingdom and Epcot, mostly where you're seeing monorails get cleaning overnight. And that was all done by custodial. That was not done by monorails. Obviously, if something happens in the middle of the day, we try and address it. Somebody throws up in the car, we got the vomit dust stuff, and we'd sprinkle that around and block it off and either sweep it up ourselves or call custodial to help out with that. But for overnight stuff, custodial staff would come up, they'd clean out all the trash cans in the station, they would come up, they'd spray down the windows and clean the windows, the windshield to the front and back of the monorail, things like that. And so that would be kind of rotated around so that the monorails could be cleaned periodically every couple of days. Sometimes it got a little dusty, a little bit dirty, but that's kind of how that worked. I assume I never really saw resort custodial handling the monorails at the resorts, because there was a lot more potential for you to be sitting around at the Transportation Center or Magic Kingdom well after the train shut down for testing or anything like that. That happened a lot more often than what you would see with the resorts. You wouldn't really spend a lot of time at the resorts. Once shut down, everybody left. You either walked back to the Transportation Center or the van came and picked you up and took you back there. So this story takes place around 1990. And at the time, not sure exactly how things are working right now, but cast members got frisky. A lot of cast members always looking to find new folks to date. There was a certain meat market to some folks. I always warned new college program girls, watch out. There's going to be a lot of guys who want to be your best friend really, really fast. So, just be aware. There were a couple of guys who did keep like a small little overnight bag, maybe a toiletry bag in their locker and kept it handy because they didn't know if they might need to hook up with a guest at a resort, or if they were going to not be going home that night. There were definitely some guys who were waiting for the possibility that they might go out with somebody or hook up with a guest or a friend, another monorail, another CM, who knows. So this first one, guy I knew, he had a date scheduled for the evening and had hooked up with a guest during the day, exchanged a hotel room number. No cell phones, remember kids, no cell phones, no texting. Got a hotel room number, said, yeah, come by at 8 o'clock or whatever, and he's gonna take her out. So this guy did not have a car at the time. I can't remember the exact circumstance, if it was being fixed. I think it was being repaired or something. And so he was without a car for a few days. So he wanted to borrow another Monorail CM's car so that he could take this lady out on a date. He borrows her car, he takes her home, comes back out to the Contemporary where this woman is staying. They go out and have their date. At the conclusion of the day, he drops her off. When he comes back down, he realizes, oh no, the tire is flat. So the tire is flat on the car that he borrowed, and he's thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? She needs to get to work in the morning. This is like in the middle of the night now. We're talking, like 2, 3, 4 a.m. that this guy is realizing, oh no, this car has a flat, and either the spare was flat or it just wasn't available at all. He's just, what do I do? These days you pick up your cell phone, she could Uber, there's a lot more solutions, but at the time we didn't have all that kind of stuff. You're just thinking on the fly or whatever. Well, he did not think very, very well on this, because the solution he came up with was he found a car just adjacent to his car, or the car he had borrowed, and he wrote a note saying, I'm sorry I had to borrow your tire, I'll bring it back later today. And he stuck that on the windshield of the presumably another guest's car and proceeded to remove, or at least start removing, the tire from the other guest's car. And he was going to put that on the borrowed car so that he could get her to work and get another tire replaced, and then come and bring back the guest their tire. Of course, in the middle of this tire transition, Disney security pulls up, and what's going on here? They put a stop to that right then and there. And of course, he was immediately suspended as a cast member. They just, this is not going to happen. And at the time, this individual was a trainer slash lead, and he was not a trainer slash lead after that. And it wasn't all that long after that he transferred. I don't know if it was voluntarily or if it was hinted he needed to move on to a different department. This wasn't a monorail related incident specifically, but he did end up moving on. And I'll never forget that. I'll never forget hearing him explain what happened. This is also pre the Disney, like the guardhouses and stuff were there, but they weren't stopping anybody coming into the parking lots. Anybody could park anywhere. There was no checking to see if you had a reservation or are you a guest here. None of that. It was just pretty much open. Anybody park anywhere. I frequently, one of the things I used to like to do, they say no pool hopping now. I basically, every week I would visit a different pool, and I skip the pool at my apartment complex. I would go to the Yacht and Beach Club. Today I'm going to do a beach day here. Next week I'm going to do a pool day at the Grand Floridian. So that was not very uncommon with cast members. Just pick different resort pools and go hang out at those resort pools for an afternoon. So there was no checking of any kind with at the gate for the parking areas. So he was able to zip right in, park, do whatever he was going to do visiting this guest, and just sort of a flukish thing that Disney security happened to be riding by right when he was making this move. The second story, this guy, he was not a lead or trainer, but this guy was known to be fond of the ladies. And one night he met up with a couple of girls coming through the transportation center. A couple of good conversation. He got to know these girls real quick and just hey, let's hook up together. I'll take you out, go to Pleasure Island. Kids, if you didn't know Pleasure Island, clubs, Disney back in the 90s, was pretty fun, pretty cool. This guy basically makes a date to hook up with these girls to go to Pleasure Island later in the day, later in the evening. So the shift's over. He goes to the resort to pick up the girls, and they proceed to go out for the night. Fast forward later in the evening, and the parents apparently have notified Disney security. They are frantically looking for their two teenage girls who said they were going somewhere, and now they don't know where they are. Reminder, no cell phones. There's no cell phones. So all they know is their girls went out and said, we're going out somewhere. They haven't heard anything from them. They don't know how to get a hold of them. They don't know where they are. They're out late. After much investigation and much searching, I guess, by Disney security, it turns out the girls are at Pleasure Island. And they are at the club Masquerade, which was a dance club, modern popular dance music of the time, techno music, dance club kind of thing. Rotating floor, lots of lights. Supposed to be for only 21 and over, drinking age and over only. These two girls are underage. They're not even 18. And they're with this guy from Monorails, who when security approaches them and says, hey, your parents are looking for you, and they approach the guy, and who are you and what are you doing? The guy offers up, oh, it's okay, I'm a cast member. Yeah, not good. Disney does not want their cast members taking underage girls to clubs, especially not Disney operated clubs. He was taken away. He did not make his shift the next morning. I can only assume he spent at least a little bit of time being talked to at the station, even if they released him. But nothing. My understanding is nothing happened. Nothing happened, physically or anything like that. He was definitely let go. He was not back at Monorails. He was no longer back at Walt Disney World. His service ended that night with that incident. And another one where we're all just scratching our heads going, what in the heck is anybody thinking with that? Nowadays, a lot easier to text and do that kind of stuff, but everything is so much more, monitored or whatever. You're much more liable to end up with your face on somebody's video going, oh, this person was rude to us or whatever. At any given moment, somebody could be recording you. Probably, behooves everybody to just be a lot more on the ball and paying attention, and you got to think a little bit more when you're in the guest area, because any moment could be on film. We had people walking around with big video cameras in the 90s, but not like everybody's got their phone. Everybody's got a big camera, an HD camera on them. So those are the two little crazy moments, weird stuff that happens with a couple of Monorail cast members. I'm going to tease one of the next couple episodes. I don't know if I'm going to do this one next or if I'll put it off a week or two, but I wanted to show you this. What I have here is a scrapbook. This is a scrapbook from not all of my time at Disney. This is a scrap at about early 1990. I thought I should basically document 1990 and perhaps beyond for the future. I was like, it's the beginning of a decade. This is a good time, and there's supposedly a lot of plans coming in the future for potential expansion. So I said, let's start documenting this. I didn't last much more than a year, but I got a ton of articles. Anything whether it was USA Today, whether it was the Orlando Sentinel. Got the Orlando Sentinel every day. I cut out everything Disney. Every little thing. From the paper, from magazines that are into, sometimes like the Sunday, you might have like the Parade magazine that used to come with the Sunday paper. I don't know if they still do that. Does anybody get the paper? Do they still do Parade magazine in the Sunday paper? It's been ages since I've seen one. But anything Disney related, I cut out and put in here. And I'd love to share some of that with you because it's really cool. It's a real neat time capsule of 1990, 1991, opening of new hotels. I've got a bunch of articles here on the opening of Universal from the day it opened, and it's really cool. These are not, I haven't done some creative thing. I was just sort of glue sticking all these articles in here. Just give you a quick sample here. This is Central Florida Business from the Orlando Sentinel. Workers rate Disney. Disney plans a city on Osceola land. Does Celebration ring a bell? So that's kind of like the early days of planning what's coming soon to Disney. There's some really cool stuff in this scrapbook, and we may need 2 episodes to, I don't know. I may put a little bit of it in Monorail Monday, and I may just post a lot of references to it on Twitter. So if you don't follow me on Twitter, follow me on Twitter soon, or at least when you see that Monorail Monday, and I'll post a bunch of stuff with a lot more detail. But we are going to talk about that real soon. That's going to be cool. There's stuff, the Yacht and Beach Club, the opening of Universal. There's some really cool stuff that happened right in that time. Appreciate everybody watching, liking, subscribing, sharing, telling your friends. Hope you enjoy it. Remember, have a good time all the time.